And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Warhammer 40,000 Dice Masters Battle for Ultramar. Now, if you are watching this and you've never heard of Dice Masters before, I encourage you to go back and watch my first Dice Masters review, my Avengers vs. X-Men. This one is, I'm not going to be talking about how to play Dice Masters. I think it's a fantastic game. I'm going to be talking about this one as an expansion. So if you've never played before, go check that out. If you have played before, we're taking a look at this as an expansion. This is a campaign box. There's no randomness in this at all. You're going to get two armies, the Ultramarines up against some nasty Chaos Army. And you get dice and cards to play with those. And then currently there's two army packs, which I'll talk about in a separate video, that you can play and add to these. The Orcs and another Marine contingent. And so you can get all that, and you can mix and match this with the Marvel stuff, or the Yu-Gi-Oh, or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or the Dungeons and Dragons. But this is a little bit different, and it has, I mean, they're compatible, but this has a couple new abilities, range and frag for one, and it's made to be a self-contained game. So let's take a look at what comes in this box. Okay, so let's take a look at the dice. Boy, are these dice dreary or what. You can easily tell the difference between the Chaos and the Ultramarines because we got blue versus this. But I have to say, it wasn't quite so easy seeing, especially there's, I think, 3 different color translucent dice for the Chaos. Those are not easy to read. The Ultramarines are better. You can see, for example, the blue ones are much clearer. And that's just slightly problematic for me. The game also comes with, you know, a whole bunch of regular dice here and the tray to store everything in, as well as a sheet that tells you all the different cards that are in the set. And then it also comes with some more of those bags. There's always the different bags that come with this set that no one ever uses, but they look pretty cool. So here we have the nasty Chaos, and then on the other side, the glorious Space Marines. I think they're kind of nasty too. All right, let's take a look at the cards. Okay, so first we'll take a look here at the nasty Chaos Army. And this is really intriguing to me that there's a one cost. There's very few one cost cards in Dice Masters as a whole. And so it's interesting that these guys are, I mean, they're super weak. They're not much better than a sidekick, but hey, they're there. And then we have Swarm. If you've ever seen Swarm before, you get to pull extra dice out when you use these for the 2s. This one's unblockable when attacking alone, which again, isn't that spectacular. I think if I was using these guys, I would either use the 1 or the Swarm myself. All right, so then we increase up to the Plague Marines, where you can essentially, these are 2/2s, so they're still not that fantastic. But the Plague Marines your sidekicks can upgrade to Plague Marines, which is kind of a neat thing. And then we have the Noxious Blightbringers here. This one I think is actually pretty interesting because essentially this card stops your opponents from playing wilds, or at least does a damage to them. This is one of my favorite cards, I think, from this set. Or if they keep energy in the reserve pool, it's like, knock it off. Lords of Contagion here. Basically, they do damage to the opponents. Now here's range. So this is one of the first special abilities in this set is range, range 2. When this character attacks, all active characters with range deal damage equal to their range value to target opposing character dice. What this essentially becomes is a round of combat before combat. So when he attacks, he'll do range 2. So you could kill someone who might have blocked you otherwise. I can take out a sidekick, for example, or someone that's going to block you. Now, range defending doesn't work unless your opponent apparently attacks with range, but then all range goes off, and you can, it's kind of like a round of combat again that you can get rid of some people. And so if you have range, you can clear out small guys before you come in. It's a kind of a neat concept. Deadly, which means if they do any damage, they kill someone, and everyone must block if able. So this is a pretty potent guy. Of course, he costs 5 for that. Or all opposing die get -3. I like this one better. The Malignant Plague Caster. So here you can re-roll your level 1s and 2s and KO the ones that become an energy face, and they can pay 1 to ignore the ability, but that's only if they kept the energy, which they might have. Of course, then you can put in the guy that damages them when they keep energy. What a great combo. Here's the second new ability in this set, Frag, When they attack and KO one or more blocking character dice with combat damage, you do 1 to all opposing character dice that did not block this turn. This one is not as exciting for me, mostly because you might be giving your opponent a lot of dice to roll in the following turn, but I'm sure that experienced players can find a use for that. Besides, people just want to have frag in the game. Then you got your big giant guys. This blocks 1 damage to every turn, which is pretty neat. Or this guy, when he's fielded, does damage to all opposing players and character dice equal to his level. Also a pretty powerful one. Then we have Typhus here. Here's another guy with range. A Toon has been showing up in sets more recently. When they're active and use an action die, do a damage to somebody. I like this because I like using action dice. So, and then another guy who can prevent a point of damage to you from each source each turn, which I really like. All right, let's take a look at the Ultramarines. They also have some cheapies here. In fact, when this guy's active, your Ultramarine dice cost 1 less to field. That's pretty handy, and that's probably my favorite of these, although you do have one with frag. Here we have one that costs 2 with no special abilities, but it's a 3/3, which seems pretty useful, and a range 1. You're going to find a lot more range among the Space Marines here. When he attacks, the defending player has more life than you, deal 1 damage. That's a pretty neat thing. Then the Librarians, who in the future Librarians are apparently way more dangerous than they are now. This one I like a lot. When fielded, prep a die from your bag. That's really cool. Get you that extra die out here. They're more range, more frag. When he's KO'd, deal damage equal to its level to target opponent. So you blow up, I guess, when someone takes you out. Bone Crusher. When he's blocked, deal damage equal to its level to target opponent. So it's a little bit like Overcrush to some degree. So I really like this. The Dreadnoughts are neat. And these things, I hated playing against these. When I was playing, there's a couple with frag and other special abilities. And then finally, I think this guy's the leader of the Ultramarines here. You can give all your Ultramarine and Sidekick dice are all +1/+1. Well, that's pretty useful. Also, he has the coolest looking die, that swirly blue one. Here he has Regenerate, which means when he dies you can re-roll him to bring him back. And Impulse here. This is probably my favorite, although it costs 7. When you buy him, if you control 2 other active Ultramarine character dice, you prep this dice, which means after you buy him, he could come out the very next turn, which I think is pretty handy. Now, all these cards are all well and good, but I waited to show you the action cards last because I think these are some of my favorite action cards from any set. Character dice only do 1 combat damage this turn. Makes your opponent dice cost 1 more. They're pretty simple some concepts here. Deals 1 damage to target opposing character die equal to the number of character dice you control. That one's okay. Instant War, though, I love this one. Draw 3 dice and get out all your Sidekick dice. That's pretty good. You know, if you want to, early on, you can get a whole bunch of guys out and start fighting quickly. Chaos Warp is crazy weird. You pull all the dice out of your bag and roll them all. And the ones that show your character faces do a damage to your opponent. Ones that show energy do a damage to you. I don't know. That seems pretty powerful, especially considering, if you have sidekicks in your bag. So that's, it's going to hurt you a bit more. But I suppose if you're like at 12 and your opponent's at 3, but you feel like they're about to start blocking everything and murder you, this would be a great thing to do. It's just neat. I think I like Orbital Strike better, where you can re-roll all your dice and then do damage equal to the combined attack of their rolled dice. So that's like, again, that's random, but it could potentially be pretty powerful. And then you skip your attack die unless you do the final one. Here, when opposing character die takes damage, KO it. So it's like having Deadly for everybody. Prep 2 dice from your bag, and if they're both sidekick, prep an additional die. That's really awesome. This is one I like to take into games often. Just do 6 damage to target character die. I think I like this one because it's called Excessive Ordnance. And then Rolling Thunder. Do 1 damage to someone. If you KO them, do 2 to another person. And then if they KO, you can do 3 to another person. If your opponent is not careful, you can set this up to really do some damage and then sweep an attack and win the game. Anyway, I really like these basic action cards, and I can see myself using these even in like the Marvel setup and such. All right, I don't want to sound like a broken record on all these new sets, but I gotta say this. The new campaign box, fantastic, great, I like it, great, I love the game. But the fact that they come with 3 dice per character, and you can use up to 4, just seems like a really bad design choice. It's a stupid publishing choice, like not design, a publishing choice. How do I get the 4th die? And I can buy a second box to get 1 more die of each type? So then me and my friends get together and buy a fourth box and split it. That just seems like a really bad idea. I don't know why they did that. And I also, like I said, I didn't really like the coloring, especially of the Chaos dice. They were okay. Now, how the game plays, range really shakes the game up. Range is a really interesting idea. I like it back and forth. I think it works really well. The frag, again, I feel like that's more of an advanced Dice Master player thing, but range changes the game. There's going to be different things. Those basic action cards I really like. And the Warhammer 40K theme I'm okay with. In the future, there's only war. That doesn't sound that exciting, but if you like Warhammer 40K, then this might be cool. It seems weird to me, I guess, to mix it maybe with Spider-Man, although you could. You know, have Spider-Man and Superman here against, you know, the Marines. But so far, I do like this. I think I would best play this one as a contained set. I will say, and you can go watch my Army Packs reviews, I like both the Army Packs better than the two ones in here. But I really like the basic action cards in here too. Also, Sam and I did a live playthrough of these, so if you want to go watch a little bit of that, realize when we were playing it though, we were still learning how some of the rules worked with range and stuff, but for the most part, you can get an idea of how this plays. Anyway, so it's a good addition. I like the fact that they are down to, you know, they got rid of the randomness. I don't like the 3 dice per box. I don't like the coloring of some of the dice, but overall, I really like the new range ability, and I really like the basic action cards in here. Dice Tower Judgment approved.